I'm going to give it a few minutes and let a few folks come in. Happy Father's Day. If y'all come watch this, give it a like, thumbs up, share it out. Let me make sure, they changed everything, y'all. Live chat. Y'all see my scratch books behind me. Was that a Bible? Which one was it? No, that's another book I've got for the Mac, trying to understand it. So I'm gonna be in here not too terribly long because I got some things to do. I've been running all weekend. I bought a plant. I have to show it later. I kind of have two house plants. 'Cause I have some bamboo up there, and he kind of bit the dust because I didn't know his water went down, and then I had to trim him. But I'm gonna see if there's still a little bit of the stock, so I'm gonna see if I can bring him back. Um, I need to go mess with him some more and put some fresh water in his thingy. And then I'm gonna probably go to the dollar store, maybe tomorrow when it's cooler in the evening after I get off work, and go see if they got any pots. And then I gotta go get some soil for him. But I bought a plant at Trader Joe's. And I might go back because I'm also thinking about getting a Monstera. I want plants in the house. I don't really have any other than little bamboo. And I was fighting the gnats. So one of the things I don't like, because if you get plants, you got soil. And gnats tend to get in the soil, which are basically they're fungus gnats. So these little buzzards, they come in from the dirt, but they'll get into the soil. But you can put in the soil, what's it called? They're granules. There's a granule you can put in the soil. I forgot the name. Um, uh, you can get them. They're usually rings that you can drop in water if the water has a lot of gnats, but you can also put them in the soil. And it's a granule. I just can't think of the name of it right now. And you can put it on the soil and it'll help fight the gnats. I might do that. But I haven't done any of that yet. So, but yeah, I got me a little plant. I should have brought him over here. I didn't think to. Oh well. Y'all see him next time. I might do a little video with him. And today, for dinner, I'm going to go out there and probably grill a steak. They had, and like I said, I got tons of meat, but they had T-bone steaks on sale. I think I got 2 steaks for like $15. So I'm going to do that, and then I got to do refrigerator cleaning and organization today. So I'm going to do that. So the kitchen is going to be our goal for today, and then I got some other things I'm doing. I'm still getting boxes and stuff together that's going to Goodwill, and trying to get over here to the boxes over here because I want to get a day bed over here for my friend to come down. I'm working on it. We're going to work on it. So I'm not doing much today. Today's Father's Day. I'm going to give it again a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to talk about my subject, and then I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to get off of here. But if you like the video, give it a like, thumbs up, share it out if it helps somebody. We're going to be talking about Father's Day. For those of you, I hope that you've had a blessed Father's Day if your father's alive. And I always say if he was a good father. And I hope that you blessed him and he was a blessing to you. However, we're going to talk about opposite type of fathers because I have had an extensive phone call today with one of my spiritual children on father issues, not only with hers, mine, and other people we know. And how to deal with that. So I'm going to deal with a big word today called forgiveness. And I'm going to get a little deep. So some people, it may be for you, it may not be for you. But I'm going to deal with the word forgiveness and fathers because my conversation today with this person, and it's not only her, there was a friend that recently passed who was a father. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because he demonstrated to me being a good father that I really want to share because I believe that those dynamics need to be shared as well as the other part that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Let me make sure I got there we go. So, are we 5 minutes in yet? Hey, Tanya, what's up, baby? How's the weather in Florida? No, not Florida. Maryland. Tanya, Maryland. Am I right? I'm getting old. How's the weather in Maryland? Let me know. And then, who's in Dallas? Somebody in Dallas. Hold on. Am I getting my people mixed up? I'm getting old. Help me and let me know. Yeah, I believe you're Maryland. But let me know. If not, Maryland is hot. Okay, you're Maryland. It's hot in Maryland. Well, it's summer. But y'all got the humidity. What's hot? Tanya, help me with what's hot. Here in Arizona, I was out today and I know my car said 113 degrees and I know it was hot. And I was out yesterday and it was about the same. I got up early this morning. Where did I have to go first? I went to Trader Joe's. Oh, that's not hot, but with the humidity for y'all, it is hot. That's hellish. In Arizona, child, we look for 88 degrees. That's hanging out. 88, 90 degrees in Arizona, you be straight because it's dry heat. But with that Maryland, with that humidity, I'll go ahead and just do my 113 hot. I would take dry 113. Hell, I'll take 120 degree weather in Arizona over your 88 to 90 in Maryland. Because the humidity, baby, I cannot. I cannot. Woo! Your humidity. Beautiful state, but that girl by humidity is killer. Yeah, I can't do the humidity. Like my friends in Florida, I'm like, girl, I don't know how. Ain't no way in hell. Cause once it go over 75 degrees, it's a done deal. Yeah. Flatbed, what's up, baby? What's the weather? Yeah, well, and Flatbed, are you in the flooding area? Because I call my best friend. She's in West Palm. She said they got a lot of rain, but she's not flooding. So prayers for anybody in the Florida area and prayers for the families and people going through all your flooding out there. Because I saw it on the news and your governor is crazy as a boxer. That nigga, I'm sorry, it made me call him a ninja. That ninja said, I watched the news. I was like, what the hell did this boy just say? This is just a typical rainstorm. My dude. Do you see the people wading in the water? It ain't typical. Bruh. My best friend said I can't stand him. He's crazy. I said, girl. But the blatant lies, since the whole Trump thing, they just do that blatant lying and they don't care. I'm like, is this dude for real? Because they don't want to admit global warming. They don't want to admit any of that. So he like, it's just a typical rainstorm. When the man was interviewed, he said, I lived here XYZ number of years. Only time we see weather like this is a hurricane. That's just rain. And it's like this. This ain't normal. And the governor got on there talking about, it's just a little bit of a rainstorm. Bruh. It was like a comedy show. I was like, this ninja right here, crazy as hell. I got nothing. I won't be shocked if Trump picks him as a running mate. I got nothing. They deserve it too. That's so crazy. Dude said, it's just a typical rainstorm. Really? Okay, you ain't been hit. Yeah, my best friend's in West Palm. She said, I think it's the southern, like that Miami area. Because they walking around and but that governor, y'all, woo. Cray. Just the level of cray. But there's a lot of cray going on right now. I just sit in amazement. I had to go to Walmart today. I didn't go in. God bless, $35 or more, you can get your stuff delivered to the car. That's what I do. I go on the app, I put my little thing in, I buy a gift card, put it on there, order my stuff, deliver to the car. And if it ain't delivered to the car, they deliver it to the door. I had to get some of the old people, over the eye glass things because my glasses don't change color. And I found and I was like, oh, they got it on sale for $11. Let me go ahead and order a glass. And they didn't have them in the store, so they delivered them right here to the door. That's how me and Walmart get along. That's how we get down. I can't do it. Too many cray-crays up in there. Now, Linda enjoys dealing with cray-cray people. I don't enjoy it. I can't. It's kind of like, I think it's a turn-on for her to argue, and I can't. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. It's not a turn-on. It makes me mad. I don't want to be mad. I want to be in peace. So, and also, people are cray-cray. People are just a different type of cray-cray. Extra cray-cray. I done seen some stuff and behaviors that is just like, what's wrong with you? That's how I feel like. What's wrong? Something wrong with you. Just the behaviors. People are weird. I was backing out of a spot today. So I'm backing out, handicap spot, right? I'm turning. I'm out. I'm halfway out the spot. And a car, she races behind me. Wait. It ain't like she trying to get it. It wasn't justified what she did anyway. But on top of that, there are 4 open car spaces. Sister, what are you doing? And I had to catch myself because she almost met the other Shandy. I pulled up, I hooked my horn at her hard, and then I stopped right behind where she parked. She didn't get out that car. Probably because she know I was a black woman. Until I stopped that car behind hers. And then I had to pray for myself, and then I drove off. People are cray-cray, y'all. People are cray-cray. You know, and you better know I'm happy I know Jesus, because people are cray-cray. People just do some really, really bizarre stuff. But, yeah, Linda had me rolling today. What y'all do for Father's Day, and I'm going to get into my Father's Day conversation, because I've been on the phone with one of my kids today, and we had a very deep, philosophical, spiritual conversation, and I'm going to share it in a roundabout way, because I hope it blesses folks. Girl, you can't argue with the news. You can't, I mean, you can't argue with the news. The news I saw was photos of folks walking in water. And it was bad. And I was like, ooh. But my friend Jane, who lives in West Palm, her husband is he's from Florida. So he's from, it's a real bad part of Florida. He said it produces a lot of the football players. And there's a lot of sugar cane grown there. What? The name of the city. It's like a really ghetto part of Florida. That's where he's from. And I forgot the name of it right now. I'll know the city if I hear it. I just can't think of it right now. And because me and her talked about it. And that's where he's from. He grew up there. I think like a project area there. And it was all sugar cane. It's a major sugar cane producing area. And apparently a lot of the football players come out of the area. Every time I get on here, y'all, the light from the window, I must time it the wrong time of day. I was on the phone quite a bit because I was supposed to be on here. I was going to get on here earlier, and then I was like, oh, shoot, let me get on and do a live real quick because I didn't do a live. Did I do a live last weekend? I did, but I did it really late. So I did it late. But, yeah, the news, I believe, if I can see it, I believe it. Now, some stuff I'll be like, I can't. Because some stuff I realize they hype. They hype stuff, like all the stuff that's going on in the different wars and some of the traumatic stuff. Well, what did you think of that when he had that gun to your head? I can't. Dude, she probably was scared. Yeah, and they want him to, oh, I was so scared. No, I can't. Trying to get I can't. I can't. I just can't. I hate that part of it. So I get you when we go to news there. But when they showing the flooding as far as what you physically seeing, yeah, I believe that stuff. I believe it. Plus, I reach out to my friend like, bro, are you okay? Yeah, girl, that's all down in such and such. What is the name of that freaking city Obadiah's from? I forgot the name of the city. It's because it's Belglade, Florida. She says a real bad part of Florida. That's where he grew up, her husband. So that's where he's from initially. And I think a lot of his sisters and stuff still live there. Girl, I cannot. She said, I'm grateful I'm not a parent, so I don't have to deal with any fathers. Let the church say amen. I'm going to talk on it. We getting ready to go there, Flatby. Woo! That's a statement in and of itself. PJ, what's up, baby? I'm good. How you doing? Happy Father's Day. If your father was a good father, I hope you blessed him if he's still alive. If he wasn't, we're going to talk about that too today. How is your weather? Where you at? PJ, St. Louis, Missouri, right? I'm saying St. Louis. That's how I remember you. Missouri, right? I'm going to remember you based on barbecue. See, my fat butt going to remember food. Barbecue. St. Louis barbecue. Missouri. So how's Missouri weather? How you doing? And I'm believing I'm right on Missouri. I'm trying to remember some of y'all spots. I try to remember. And I forgot my sister ain't been on here from Dallas in a while. I ain't seen her in a while. And then one sister's she's on Facebook with me, Mad14K. And she just retired. So if you do watch this, man, 14K, congrats. Missouri, Kansas City. Okay. Oop. Missouri area. Okay. Kansas City. Yeah, same thing. That area, the barbecue. Kansas City barbecue, that area. Okay. 85. Y'all got a little bit of humidity, but y'all humidity ain't nothing like down in Maryland. She said, so is it a cool humidity or are you dealing with the humidity too? What's your humidity level? That really tells you whether 85 is a good 85 or an 85 to make you want to shoot yourself. I'm just saying. See, 85 with 50% higher humidity will make you want to shoot yourself. I cannot. So like when Tanya was talking about her humidity was, her heat was 80 to some 90 degrees. That in Maryland, woo, that's hot. That's because you get out, you stick into yourself. In Florida, God knows. God knows. In Florida, y'all. I went down. I'm trying to think what was out there in the summer months. I only came into like Jacksonville and out. Yeah, I came. So Arizona, we don't normally have humidity until what we call monsoon season, which I can't remember. That's like probably August, September timeframe. I don't remember when it starts. And that's when we get normally we have our dust storms and rain. Although because we've been in a drought, we really haven't had a good monsoon season in quite a while. So at least since 2019, I can't remember a good monsoon season here. Not like what I grew up with. So we would hit monsoon season. Matter of fact, the rain would be so prevalent, they'd have to let water out the dam and it would run through the salt because there's a river that should run through Arizona. A lot of people don't know that. Even Linda, who grew up here, love her. She has a problem driving over water. Well, if it's not a natural body, it's man-made. And I was like there's a lake we call Tempe Town Lake in Tempe. I said, Linda, that is not a man-made lake. They do have the water imported in. It comes in, but that's not man-made because that water is dammed up. If they released that water, there would be a river called the Salt River that would run through Arizona. She a native and didn't know it. She would kill me. I love her. I love her so much. She's so funny to me. I'm like, my dude. You done lived here all your life. And when you give her directions, she not good with directions. So, for example, over here by my house, I said, okay, I'm going to meet you at this restaurant. And she had never been to it. And she don't live far from here, like 5 minutes from where I live, right? 5-10 minutes. And her brother used to live in the section I'm in right now. He used to live in this area. And so I said, you know where the Safeway is? Yeah, not that corner. You know where the Sprouts is? Yeah, not that corner. You know where the little left, I said on the left-hand corner where my section of it, it's not that corner. It's the other corner. Oh, I get it. Loom, what's loom? What's loom, Tanya? Tell me what loom is. Are you talking about the net thing? Is you talking about that net thing? Are we talking about the nets? I think that's what you're talking about. Tell me if you're talking about the nets. Because I think you might have saw me talking about nets in the beginning. Are you talking about the nets? Tell me if we're talking about the nets. Loom, that sounds like the net. There's some kind of new device you plug in. It has a catcher. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Let me know if that's what you're talking about. That's funny though. But yeah, it's anyway. So Father's Day. I hope y'all all had a good Father's Day. If you had good fathers, Flatbed, you funny, but I'm gonna get into that because I just got off the phone we started our conversation. We've been on the phone for about 3 or 4 hours off and on. And one of my spiritual kids is what I'm gonna call him. And we actually had a very good conversation. So I'm gonna kind of go on a serious vibe. Y'all flow with me, get in here. And I'm gonna say this. So I had a friend who just recently passed away. I'm gonna tell a little bit of his story because he was not married to his son's mother. And when I met him, we had worked together at a company here, which was the first cell company here in Arizona. And it was called Cell One. And so I was in the IS department. I ran the reports for the corporate office, and I also was help desk for the floor, for the call center. So I worked overnights. He worked overnights. And we also had another friend of mine who worked there too. And he's deceased now. His name was Carrick. So Carrick overnight, he would, and all of us are black. So these are all black people. And my other friend was Bridget. So Carrick would work overnight, and I was in my late 20s, so it's right before I got sick at 29. So I'm going to say I was probably 27, 28, somewhere in there. And Carrick, I would talk to him because we're black folks, we talk to each other at the center. And so I would talk to him at night because it wasn't a lot of overnight reps, and he was one of the overnight reps. And he would get up every morning after he left work, and he would go get breakfast for him and his son, and he would meet his son at the school that his son went to. And so one night I was asking, all over body deodorant Loom. I don't know anything about Loom. Okay. I don't know anything about Loom, but okay. Is it a nice deodorant? Oh, you talking about because of the moisture issue. I got you. I got you. Understand. Because I don't like to sweat, and I got you. You don't want to be funky. I got you. Right here, Tanya. Smart. We don't have to worry about that here in Arizona. I mean, you might have just a natural sweat, but it's going to be like sweat here. Although the chest was sweating today because I was out there. I was like, oh my God. I got out the car. By the time I got in the grocery store, by the time I came out, the girls, I was sweaty. I was like, whew, it's hot as hell. Even though the car got AC, which is a blessing, but it was a little bit on the hot side. Anyway, Carrick, he would get off work, he'd go meet his son. And so I don't know how we got in the conversation because I was always curious because every morning he would do this religiously Monday through Friday. And so then one day he told me the situation. And apparently the mother of his son had an issue with him and was using the son as a way to get back at Carrick that you can't see the son. So to see his son, he went above and beyond, and he would go buy breakfast, sit outside the school, wait for the son to come to school, and before the son went into school, he would sit and spend time with his son. And I thought that was so unique because a lot of, at least for me and for others like me, and I can't speak to every culture, I can speak to the black culture, but some of us, we grew up in the black family without a father figure. And absentee fathers, fathers who don't care, and fathers who it's about them. It's on the woman. She handles everything with the kid. Oh, well, I'm going to go and live my life, pay my dues, maybe put some money in an account, and I don't really interact with my kid. And while I do think there should be a financial support when you father and or mother a child, there also needs to be the mother and father presence in the child's life, point blank period. However, there's some people who are jacked up who shouldn't have children and should not really interact with their children, and their children should probably be raised by other people. We'll leave that alone. That's kind of my situation. But in the course of things, I saw a black man who wanted to have a relationship with his son, who wanted to be a father to his son, who wanted to speak in the life of his son. Okay, got you, Tanya. So Carrick actually did what a lot of black men don't do. And he took that time out to try to be with his son. So for fathers like Carrick, I just want to say I commend you. I thank you for having an impact in your child's life. I hope today, if you're still breathing, that your children recognize you and appreciate you. I hope that even the mothers that you may have mothered children with or had children with, that they also recognize you. Whether you're married to them or not married to them, as long as you have been a man who is present in your child's life, it is a very necessary thing. And it definitely creates a different type of character in that person. So the Carrick I knew was a man because he had a man in his life. His daddy was in his life. His father was an educator. His mother was an educator. And he grew up with both his parents in the household. So then as I got to know him and later know his family, his mother and his siblings, I then understood why Carrick was maybe more grounded and also someone, speaking of nets, I feel like I just got a net. Felt like a net. Why he was more grounded in his interaction with his son because he grew up with a daddy. So he knew how to be a father and the need for a father, and he was one. I do know later his son actually moved in with his family, and they left his mom and said, I want to be with my dad. In doing so, his son did well. He ended up getting a full ride scholarship, and he's a black kid, to BYU, Brigham Young University. So yes, it was a Mormon school in Utah. He ended up getting a full ride scholarship. I think it was football, and he ended up going there, playing with them, finishing college, and he struggled. But Carrick spoke into his life and like, look, bruh, these people giving you a full ride scholarship. You gonna finish that college degree, and he did, and his son is doing quite well. When I knew Carrick was a very heavy set man. I say Carrick probably was about between 350 and 400 pounds. He's big like me. Um, Diabetes ran very bad in their family, and I guess some other health challenges, and they all were big people. But Carrick ended up naturally losing his weight. His sister had the weight loss surgery, and then he had another brother who was a severe diabetic who ended up losing eyesight. And I know all of them have died except for one sibling is left, which is the youngest. Okay, so the one who had went blind because of his diabetes, he passed, heart attack. The sister who did opera in New York, she passed. I think a heart attack also. And then recently, my friend Carrick passed about 3-4 weeks back. Okay. And I mention his story because that's an example of a father. It's a person who, a black man who wanted to be a dad and who truly spoke into his child's life. Okay. So I want to commend that kind of father because I know they exist. My best friend's father, who's passed on years ago, back when we got out of high school and she was in the military, her father was a man who he took his custody of his kids. Not quite the most legal route, but he said black children should be raised by black families because his ex-wife was Korean. My best friend's mother was Korean. And he took them with only partial custody. I think they were sharing custody, but he felt that he wanted to raise his kids. While he may not have done, quote unquote, the right thing in how he did it, what I also commend him again is that we don't see that level in some of who we see as black males and wanting to really be fathers to their children. So again, that kind of father, I commend you because it really says what your heart is for your children and that you love your children and you care. I didn't grow up with that. The young lady that I was on the phone with today, she didn't grow up with that. Several of us have dynamics of even other men, whether they were uncles or stepfathers who were pervs. And so we are molest, incest, and other types of victims to that behavior. And also sometimes the parentage that we had were also victims to that behavior. So this quote unquote Father's Day for us is not what it is for other people. In my conversation today, the young lady I was talking to was like, I feel some sort of way. Her father has passed on. And I know a lot of younger people, 40 and under, use this new term. And some maybe people my age, because it's a term used. I feel some sort of way. It used to bother me when I heard him, like, why can't you verbalize how you feel? I mean, I feel some sort of way. Question mark. What? I need you to break that down. But in reality, it actually speaks very well because a lot of people can't put into context how they feel. They don't understand the dynamics. They just know something ain't right. All I can tell you is I know something ain't right. I just don't know how to verbalize what's not right. So I feel some sort of way actually preaches. It speaks volumes because there's a lot of people that I feel some sort of way. And we can't put I feel some sort of way in any other context. So my conversation from this morning when I called the young lady up until we've been off and on the phone, because she's out, she's a driver too. So we're on the phone off and on, and she's a lot younger, older, about to be my kid, sweet kid. And we were talking. Let me take these glasses off. And when she first texted me about how she was feeling this morning on Father's Day, at first the way I took it was something that I'm seeing that I can't stand, and that's the happy heavenly birthdays and happy heavenly Father's Day and happy heavenly dead people. I can't stop. And I thought that's what she was saying. But then before I called her, there was something in my spirit of God says, listen, just listen. And she began to talk about her situation and talk about the father that wasn't, even though he was her biological father, like Grumpy was my biological father, he was not truly a father. And really, he didn't have the skill set. Her father did not have the skill set. He didn't have the tools. As I listened to her unpack and talk, I heard a couple of different things. I heard anger and I heard hurt. So if you guys don't understand, if you've ever done counseling, I had a friend of mine who did counseling. I did counseling for a minute while I was younger when the abuse happened with my mom, when I first got beat and put out the house and living with my grandfather, all of that drama in the abuse. And when I high school I was going to, I went to, there was a program you didn't have to pay for. It was like a community program where you could get counseling. So my social worker at the school, she said, we're going to send you to this counseling program. And I was able to talk to them. I forgot how many little sessions I had, but I just talked to them. Then I had another friend of mine who was Mormon and well, kind of Mormon. And she was a roommate for a temporary time. And she had a lot of some family dynamics that weren't good. And she did counseling. And one of the things that she would say was that anger was covered up hurt. And that's exactly what it is. We call it anger because we're angry about a situation, but really the anger is just covered up hurt. That's what anger is. You were hurt and wronged in a situation and you're hurt by it, and you become angry because you want to either lash out and deal with it, or you don't know what to deal with it. You're angry, you're hurt. In the form of family, in the form of fathers, in the form of even mothers who aren't that, and you grew up not dealing with something like how Carrick was, my friend Carrick, or how my best friend's father was, as far as men who really wanted to be fathers and who wanted to have an impact on their children's lives and really knew how to show love. Some of us grew up with damaged, broken people. And that is a hard cup of tea to swallow. And it's taken, I am 55, and the end of this month I'll be 56. It's taken 56 years. Well, it took about 45 to get to a point where I said I forgive. It's taken probably 50 to become confident that I am truly forgiving of those people. But I am always the type of person, even though I'm a minister, even though I love God, you do not have to sit yourself in the seat of abuse to forgive. Forgiveness can be twofold, and I use the word can be. It doesn't have to be. It can be twofold. It can be forgiveness for the other person where they can get freedom if they so choose to accept it and walk in it. And it also can be freedom for you. But it does not require, forgiveness does not require that person walking in the forgiveness. You just have to forgive them. And sometimes you can verbally tell them, and sometimes you have to say, Lord, I forgive them from a distance, because they are so damaged and so jacked up that they would not be able to hear, receive, or even comprehend if you told them, I forgive you. They just won't. They're not there. In the case of this young lady, her father is deceased, but during his life, he was a drug addict, a severe drug addict. I think crack and some other stuff. Severe. Her mother died when she was very young, and also, it sounds like possibly could have had substance abuse issues. I've met those people along my journey. Monty had a lot of issue, Grumpy. He was a sexaholic with women, a manipulator of women. He also had done drugs, and he also had sold them. Not like on the street corners. He did big supplies, and I shared that with this young lady today because she knew of him. And I was sharing it. She's like, I said, right. I said, because some people, we don't know somebody's story until they tell us. And part of me on this channel, I try to be very transparent because I realize as I'm getting older, the Bible talks about a testimony, and our testimony is the test that we have been through in this life. It's our story that hopefully will help somebody and transform somebody's lives. But we have to forgive. Even my pervy, crazy stepfather, even family members, brothers, mother. I told my two brothers about my situation. Neither I'm like, oh, Shannon, I'm sorry that happened to you, because they don't care. And I don't know whether they're believing whatever story my mother has come up with, or they just don't care what happened, because this weirdness is normal to some people when you have a pervert in your line. And it's a hard pill for you to swallow to say, hey, your father was a Chester the molester. They don't care. And it was funny because as I was talking to this young lady today, she's sharing, she's like, my step grandmother's brother molested me, and they invite him to dinner like it's nothing. There's other accusations in the household, and they sit at the table as if this is normal. I said, because it is. Because we don't want to deal with the situation. I forgot the Greenleys. That show, the Greenleys, I can't even watch it. It triggers for me. Where they're sitting at this is a Christian, supposedly a church minister, which it happens in churches, trust me, that I know, being in ministry, where they're sitting at the table with the Chester the molester uncle, and the mama's refusing to deal with it, and one of her children has already committed suicide because of what this man has done to her daughters. But what is even more perverted and broken and weird is that the daughter who is a victim of his brings her daughter here to possibly be victimized by the crazy Chester the molester uncle. It's this really jacked up cycle. Forgiveness does not mean you sit at that table. Forgiveness does not mean you bring your children into that environment. If anything, you should learn to protect them from it. But the problem is, and I'm going to bring it to a Christian level, this is who I am. The problem is we allow that sin demon to just keep coming back and forth and going through the generations without breaking it and asking God, break this in my life. And breaking it may mean breaking ties with family. Breaking it may mean not speaking to folks. It's not a hate thing. I forgive you. But you deciding to stay in your madness, I'm going to leave you there. I'm not going to be in this madness with you. I'm not coming to sit at the table with Chester the molester uncle just to have family. It's craziness. It's insanity. And to normalize bad behavior. That's just sick. And it's just sick. It's not like a wrong somebody did and they don't do it anymore. This kind of stuff is deeper. We're seeing right now, a lot of us watched the Sean Combs thing, and they arrested I think his son, for some sort of act that must have happened with somebody who was working on a yacht or whatever, right? As I sat back and I analyzed this, and I don't know these people from a can of paint, what's true, what's false, but the scenario, what we saw the daddy do, him, with beating that woman, doesn't it sound like some of that man have translated down to the son? That generational curse on how you see women and how you treat women and what you see them as, or females, that's translated. Because until somebody in the family line starts speaking and praying and asking God to break those things, it's just going to continue through the cycle. And it's going to continue. So some of us did not grow up with fathers who were fathers. We grew up with grown little boys who did not know how to be men. Or some of us didn't have them at all. So really, I didn't get to know Monty Grumpy until I was 25 years old. And what I did learn of him as I got to know him is that he was a broken individual. There were childhood traumas that happened to him. And that's what I was trying to explain to the young lady I was speaking to today. You need to forgive more so for you. If that person is willing to accept a verbal forgiveness and walk in it and treat you better with some dignity, respect, and some remorse for the things they did to you, cool. But if they're not, you don't have to sit yourself in the seat of abuse. Forgiveness is for you. Because you may never get an apology for these people, because some of these people will justify their madness, their sin, and they like it. They'll live in it. It's who they are. And there's not anything you can do about it. They may have their own brokenness. There's nothing you nor I can do about that. They got to go through their life journey. Hopefully, before they close their eyes in death, they repent and get it right. I don't wish hell on nobody, not even the pervy stepfather. You need to repent. You need to get it right. But if you don't, I forgive you. Because biblically, the Bible tells me for God to forgive me, I got to forgive people who wronged me, even parents. And that's a hard cup of tea. Grandparents, the pervy Chester the molester, you got to forgive them too. The person who murdered my grandfather, I got to forgive them too. If I have any aught or ill will, I never did, but you got to forgive them if you do. Because at the end of the day, we all are a product of what we came through the family line of man. and sin permeated everybody. And some people do not know how to deal with the demons they have on board. And those things run them and it permeates them. And that's who they are. So maybe whatever happened to your father, he self-medicated with drugs in order to get through the abuses he went through as a child. And based on what she told me, he went through some abuses. And based on listening to her, I wouldn't even be shocked if some of those are sexual, because they most likely were at the hands of some of the people that she later had to interact with in that family line. Thank you, Tanya. You understand, but we got to get freedom, and we can't live in the anger. We can't live in the hurt because it blocks us. And for those people who don't see our plight, don't understand our damages, don't understand, and don't have enough human courtesy to say, man, I'm sorry to hear that. When this young lady who's not even my blood told me her story, I was like, let me tell you. And I told her a little bit. She didn't know what I had went through until I did a video on here talking about my biological mother. And then she reached out and said, dude, thank you. I needed that. Because a lot of us, and who else was on here? Wendy. And me and Wendy have had some chats in the background. This is not an isolated incident. And there's women, more so women go through it, but I am hearing boys that are going through it as well. And a lot of it's bubbling to the surface. I was just watching Lecrae. If y'all don't know, he's like Christian hip hop rapper. And he and his brother, I think, were molest victims. And so you hear those dynamics, and you also hear what transpires with the damages from that. People can go drugs. People can go alternative lifestyles. People try to cope with those traumas as best they can. You look at somebody who, like Kirk Franklin, who, when you watch that show with him and the dad and find out his mama and mama crazy, I'm telling mama crazy. He need to forgive his mama, but for me, mama crazy, I need you to go in the corner, because you still in your lying phase. You still in the phase of not admitting truth. And it's okay. I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to feed you with this long-handled spoon. You're going to go over there. My biological mother lives here in Mesa, Arizona somewhere. I think in a retirement village, from what I understand. I stopped talking years ago. I had tried. And everything when we interacted was drama, and it was lies and deception and just craziness. I decided I'm not going to live in your craziness. I'm going to let you live in your craziness. My buddy Joe says, well, do you think your brothers will tell you something happened? They don't have to tell me. It's okay. They can put her in the ground. It's not hatred. I forgive her. I hope she gets it right. I hope we get to the other side and we're able to see each other and get along. Because in the other side, she won't be my biological mother. She's going to be whatever she is on the other side. Because it says your wife is not really going to be your wife. You'll know that you are married to that person, but spiritually, the transition is going to be something different. And that's okay. I hope you get it right, because I don't wish hell on my worst enemy. Based on what the Bible describes, I'm good. I don't wish that on worst enemy. Not at all. No, sir. No, ma'am. I forgive, because forgiveness is for me. I need freedom. I got to do like Christ did on the cross. That Christ took a beating for the sins of man. They hung that man up on a cross, the Son of God. And what did he say? Forgive them, for they do not know what they do. If you can do that, I sure, after all you went through, you done been lied on, you done been beaten, you done been nailed to a cross, you took on the sins of mankind, but just even the way you were treated. And you say, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Yeah, I get it. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but you like, I ain't even gone through that. I done had some emotional traumas and some other issues, and I done been through some stuff. And some people have been through rapes and all sorts of things that are very, very severe. I've been through physical beating. I've been through, a whole bunch of weirdness. But the level of what, and God bless Mel Gibson for showing us what took place, because Romans weren't no joke. That level of physical abuse, and then nailed to some boards? Forgive them, for they do not know what they do. I got to be able to forgive ratchet people. Because truly, if you understand the whole spiritual ramifications, some people really don't know what they're doing. They honestly don't. Some of them are so mentally messed up, they don't. That's was it Keisha Cole and her mama, Frankie? I watched a little bit of the show. It used to bother me. But then later on, I remember I was watching, I think it was BET, and somebody had thanked Keisha Cole for doing that documentary, because the reality is there are a lot of families that grow up with people with substance abuse and mental health issues. Frankie fell under both of those. Then we later find out that the sister of Keisha Cole was raped trying to get to her mama. So many broken dynamics that created that madness. But we don't know what created. You would have to know a lot more depth of what created Frankie. I shared today with the young lady I was talking with a story about Grumpy. So Grumpy to me was always a dick. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm very forthright. You guys know that. I was like, this dude is just a massive dick. I got along with him because I understood him. And we were more friends than father and daughter, even though he was my biological father, really had a friendship. And there's friends I have, love them dearly. I don't necessarily agree with all their stuff. I'm who I am, you are who you are, and I'm going to accept this about you or not. And that's kind of how me and Grumpy's relationship was. But one day we're sitting in the house and he was talking and he said something about being a little boy. And he said something about his grandmother. And I was like, what do you mean you were living with your grandmother? It was always my understanding that my grandmother, his mom, had been married to his dad from the time he was born and they were together. Not so. I said, wait. Where was my grandmother's name was Grandma Marie. His mom was Marie. Where was Grandma Marie? All of a sudden, for the first time, this man who never showed emotions, never, this is what he did. Oh no. And all of a sudden, I was like, there it is. There it is. I had never understood why he was so jacked up until that moment. Later, well, before then, he had also mentioned when I met him, we were at my grandmother's house when she was alive, and he did it jokingly. Hey, mama, you remember when you stabbed daddy in the leg with that knife? What the hell woman you talking about? Because, see, the grandmother that I knew, I always saw the woman who was this major Christian lady. I never saw this angry, violent lady that would stab his daddy in the leg. So I'm thinking, is this ninja crazy? No, he's telling the truth of what he went through. That's a trauma. That's a massive childhood trauma. As I was sharing this story, and I was like, what I learned was I saw the brokenness and the messed up part of who my biological father was. I saw how the narcissist was developed. And he then was later in his teen years, after my grandmother, his mother, married another man, shipped off to his father. And he states, well, she shipped me because I was getting into trouble. And she said, I'll see how you do on a dairy farm with your daddy. And reality, I'm going to be honest, the stepfather did not want my father there. So I believe, unfortunately, my grandmother may have gotten rid of my father and sent him to his father so that she could keep her ninja. Okay? Point blank period. I could be wrong. That's never been spoken, but based on what I knew of the step-grandfather, which I didn't like him either, I get that very much could be the case. And it was just, okay, it's time for you to take care of him because I'm going to move on and live my life with this man that I like. And he don't really want Monty here. Okay? And there's another trauma. So now the dynamics of a man who did not respect women, only saw them as sexual objects and people who could do stuff for him, you see where maybe some of the animosity and the damages come from. And the narcissist is born. Because I need to feel important. I need to be validated, even if lies do it for me, so that I actually have power and manipulation. And I also, it's all about me. So if I birth kids, it's all about me. I'm not going to worry about that, whatever. It is unfortunate that some of us grew up with very damaged people. And I know Father's Day, for some of you, are like this several-hour conversation I had today with the young lady. And I said, at the end of it all, you have to forgive. Because the forgiveness, even though he's dead and gone, her dad, forgiveness is for you. You know, he's not alive to where even if you told him you forgive him, would that have stopped him from using drugs? Maybe not. If Kirk Franklin tells his mama, Mama, I forgive you for whatever is going on, is she going to stop lying and being crazy? Maybe not. Most likely not. But he does not have to subject himself to the madness. Instead, I forgive you. And he don't even have to tell her verbally. He can just say, Lord, I forgive her for what she's done. Christ upon the cross. He didn't look down. Bobby, I forgive you. Johnny, I forgive you. Sam, I forgive. He said, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And if they chose to continue in their weird thinking, that's on them. Forgiveness was for him. And for the fact that for those who would be receptive of that forgiveness, cool. But those who don't, you've made your choices. This is a very simple process. We've convoluted it. We've made it harder. Forgive those people. I forgive the pervy stepfather. He's still a perv. From what I had, my experience, he's a perv. I hope he gets it right. I hope he's not a perv no more. I hope he hasn't damaged other kids, but he's a perv. He was a perv in my world. You need to get your freedom. And your freedom cannot, and that's the other thing she said. She said, I feel like everybody else, like, wait. You know this ninja done come to the table, sit at the table. And that's the other thing. They want to invite the partner. No. Everybody involved in that. 2 and 2. Deuces. Kick rocks. And I'm not trying to be mean. You going over there. There's a point where the Bible talks about receiving. When you go into a house and if they receive you, really a representative of Christ. But if they receive you, cool. If they don't, he says, shake the dust. There's a point where if people don't receive what you coming with, who you are, and they want to stay in the madness, shake the dust, leave them in the madness. Pray for them. Maybe they wake up. Maybe they won't. But you got to keep moving. You can't stay in there. And if you stay there, you're going to be swallowed up into their madness. It's not worth it. I got friends of mine, I watch them right now. That one whose nephew called about hammering the nails into the tire is madness. But you have chosen because you want somebody to say, I love you, Uncle so-and-so. But you just talked to me about nails in the tire with madness. Because you've accepted madness. Madness is okay. Madness is not okay in my world. Kick rocks. It might be a lonely life. Be me and Jesus. But that's okay. There's a level of madness I'm not going to deal with from anybody, even if you forgive them, but they want to stay in their madness, let them stay there. And all you can do is pray for them because obviously something most likely either happened to them or that's just where they're at and they won't get freedom. They just won't. And I tried to explain it because it used to, even in my conversations with people, I would be like sitting there going like this, like, can't they see? And they can't. But some people are walking in blinders. And I think to see also requires an accountability they don't want to open up. So one of the things that I feel God showed me, there's a scripture, and it is in the book of Matthew, I think like 16, 17 chapter, and God is asking, Jesus is asking them, who do people say that I am? He's asking all the disciples, and they start, you, this person, this person. Then he said, Peter, basically, who do you think I am? And Peter said, you the Son of God. You the Messiah. And Jesus said, flesh and blood has not shown you this, but my Father in heaven. Okay? I'm going to say this to you. There is a revelation type knowledge that only God can give. And not everybody can walk in that. That's why you must forgive and let people do whatever the hell they're going to do. Because you can't control that. There are people who will never, ever see. We're in a world right now. I could talk to some of y'all about Jesus all day long. You will never get it. In some cases, you just don't want to. Because you still want the world to be about you. And that's your journey. I don't sit here and try to convince people. I share what I share, and if the Holy Spirit pricks their heart and they pick it up, cool. And if he don't, cool. Doesn't mean I hate them. I pray for them, hope they wake up, and they may wake up somewhere along the journey. I don't know. I hope they get it right before they close their eyes and death or the rapture happens. I don't know. But in dealing with just even this simple thing of family and fathers, and dealing with that, not all of us grew up with standard families. I just got off the phone telling a young lady about the abuses I suffered before I ended up living with my grandfather. They were physical. My mother punched, stomped, pushed me into a wall, a whole bunch of stuff that took place. Child Protective Services came in and they suck. And a schoolmate witnessed this beating because she lived in the complex. And this young lady, white chick, she's like, "Are you kidding? You're telling her mom is a good mom? That woman just drugged me by my hair," and I had hair. Kicked me, stomped me in from the laundry room all the way to the apartment. Threw me into the wall. I escaped that madness barefoot running and had to make a phone call at the Circle K on the corner to my aunt who called in Child Protective Services because of the level of abuse. And I have to say I forgive her. My aunt, her sister said, and what I remember one day, she was here and something with my brothers, and she said they won't ever know what you did for them. Facts. Facts. Out of her own mouth. But that sister won't sit down with my two brothers and say, "Guys, you need to do this." But she'll tell me, "Oh, you need to forgive your mom." And because her forgiveness is me sitting down hanging out with my mother. Because that's how warped and sick some families are. That they think that sitting at the table with the abuser means forgiveness, when the abuser never, ever seeks to say, "I'm sorry. I wronged you. I allowed you to be wronged." Preach. If y'all ain't reading this, and Tanya, you just said it. Parents can't give us what they do not have. However, that does not make forgiving parents any easier. 100%. And that is something I shared with the young lady today. I had started, so I was coming back into ministry, and I was coming back into Christianity because I was in a backslidden state in my 30s. And there was a point where I said, "God, show me me." That is one of the hardest when you tell God to do it. And I believe the Holy Spirit led that conversation. That experience, woo-wee, baby. Just start peeling back. And by the time, I remember going to a high school graduation, which was really ratchet on Monty's side of the family for one of my younger cousins. It was really ratchet. And I saw all the sins and all the brokenness and all of the generational curses in my family line. When I left out of there, I had pulled away because they did it at a really ghetto spot. And we did it at AMVET for a high school graduation. If y'all know what the AMVET is, think of the, what is it for the veterans? There's like a place like for the veterans. AMVET is a veterans type thing too, but there's another one that's around the country that vets go to. I forgot the name of it. The League, Urban Legion or whatever they call it. It's like one of those. I pulled away. My mother's old church was just up the street from this AMVET. I had never been in there in my life. I didn't even know the dang place existed. And what I had saw of my cousins and the family, I pulled up, tears streaming down my face. And I said, "God, break every generational curse over my life. Every last, break it. I don't want any of that." Because it was so everything from, on the Omani side, we got Chesters on that Omani side. We got drug dealers on Mani's side. We got criminals on Mani's side. We got murderers on Mani. All that stuff, Lord, break it over my life. I want nothing to do with it. When you say, "God, show me me," he will peel back them layers. But in order for us to get the freedom, we have to see it. Because if you walk in ignorance, like my friend right now, he thinks his mama is a saint. I met his mama. His mama, she's deceased now. That one was a control freak from hell. I just shared the story. That woman was a massive control freak. And he wants to blame a sister of his husband for her being jacked up. No, baby, it's a combination of all of the above. It's the stuff that was inherited from your family, and it may be whatever she brought in from that marriage. It's a combination. Your sister crazy because it's a combination of both. And you've got some of the behaviors, but you don't see it because unless you are willing for God to show you, you walk in your own, people function in their dysfunction. Conjunction, junction, what's that function? People function in their dysfunction. It's their normal. And unless something peels back your eyes. Peter, who do they say that I am? You're the Son of God. Flesh and blood hasn't shown you this, but my Father in heaven. Meaning that it had to be a divine situation for Peter to even know who Jesus was. He was a good man. Oh, some say you're a prophet. But the dynamics to understand this is God incarnate, that's some spiritual stuff. But it's the same thing in our situations sometimes down here in this flesh suit. Actually, oftentimes. People are walking around and because I was like, Lord, why can't they see? I would talk to people and I'd be like, oh, okay, it's a generational curse. They have no idea. I met my brother's daughter, gorgeous girl, and I like both of them, the one who's incarcerated on my father's side. And when I met her, and she had 5 children, and after the funeral, I said, you needed to ask God to break every generational curse off your family. Because she part of the Smith line. I am too, but I do what I can. No, baby, you don't have no power. That's the other problem. We got a church preaching the wrong stuff. You just speak over. No. If Paul beseech God about a thorn in the flesh, he didn't say, thorn in the flesh, I command you to go away. Because he wouldn't walk. Paul wouldn't have the conversation with God. God, I need you to get rid of this thorn. And God says, my grace and mercy is sufficient. But you need to ask God because God is going to either carry you through it or help you deliver from it. However, you need to be aware of it. And the only person that can help you with that is God. And a lot of times the person that's going to help you with that freedom to forgive is God. Because just the root words of I forgive is not forgiveness. It has to be something that sits within your spirit. And you have to understand forgiveness is a mercy and grace thing. And that's taken some time for me to get there. I went through the anger, almost a hatred for my mother, because as God started showing me and playing back the situation and everything, and then I realized, wait a minute, this chick knew. She knew. And what an aunt by marriage was trying to tell me, she knew that Chester the molester was Chester the molester, that she married this dude, and stuff that she said to me. But again, when you're living in dysfunction, you can't see it. All you know is you're living in the madness. And you're trying to survive in the madness. And then when people come out the madness, some people go to drugs. Some people go to whatever addictions. Some people end up in alternate lifestyles. There's a plethora of things. Some become men who slip around with different women and have all these relationships and affairs and all the madness because they don't know where it is. They operating and trying to cover up all the brokenness and the traumas and all the stuff. That's why I tell people Satan gets his foothold in when you're a child. That's why I really believe that there is a lot of sexual stuff that happens to a lot of children in the world, mainly with females, but now we're seeing it even manifesting more with even males. There's a chick, and I don't know her. She's now a minister, but I saw a conversation she did with the young man, and the sister was bad. Her name's Tiffany Montgomery. I don't know anything about her ministry, so I'm not promoting her ministry. I just know that interview she did with that young man preached. And there's a point where she said that a lot of kids have been touched inappropriately. And the enemy, and so therefore they don't know how to have what should be a godly relationship or what would be by God's standard normal relationship with men, parents, fathers. So it's hard for them to acknowledge God as a father because they never really had a father. Facts. And she said, and as I listened, because I've been trying to wrap my mind around the situation on how people are so blind to the fact of what they've inherited and what came from their parentage. And even people, I see people like, you hang out with your mom? I got associates of mine whose mamas was crackheads and they love their mama dirty draws. And they went through some hell growing up under a crackhead mama. And glowing reviews. I got a friend, I sat on the phone with her the other night. We're talking about our associate who died, Carrie. And she just told me the most glowing reviews of her mother. Now, I met her mom and I liked her mom. But what her mom did was choose a ninja. I mean, her mama dead is behind a ninja. She chose a ninja over her girls. She placed her girls in a situation under his family, and a situation that has psychologically affected my friend. She doesn't realize it because she's operating in the brokenness of what she went through. So she doesn't realize that some of the behaviors and expectations she has is due to the damages that were allowed by her mama, and by her mama placing her and her sister in situations that weren't good. So her mother used to drop them off. The family did not like the husband, the dude that her stepfather, the girl's stepfather, her sister's actual dad. They didn't like him, so they treated the girls really bad in conjunction to the other children that were in the family. And her mother dropped them off regularly, trying to force a relationship with his family. Okay? Behind a ninja. Her mother was a diabetic, found out that the ninja she was with, the stepdaddy, was screwing around with her cousin, and stopped taking her diabetic medicine and went into diabetic coma and died. Okay? My friend's mother also was somebody who had a situation with her own mother, where her own mother, her mother, which is my friend's grandmother, took all her boys and raised them, and I think she dropped the girls off on other people. So she basically abandoned her motherhood for her boys, to raise her boys, and her girls she didn't care about. So she just dropped them off and let somebody else raise them. That's some major abandonment you just left with your children. Those dynamics affected who my friend's mother was. And it also rolls down to some of the things that she allowed to happen with the rearing of her children. And again, this is where forgiveness has to come in, because when the enemy comes in, he's coming to, the Bible says, he's coming to kill, steal, and destroy. Where is the best way to do that? In your childhood. Because if he gets his foot in your childhood, he's going to wreak havoc the rest of your days until you recognize. And then once you recognize it, now it's trying to get his foothold and his hand off your life. And the only way you can do that is by God. And that's hard. And that's why the Bible tells us we need to forgive so God can forgive us, because he forgave us. Because it is a cycle. It's a sick, twisted cycle, and it stems back all the way to Genesis 3 with the fall of man in the garden. It is what it is. Once we recognize that the people that may have not been the best to us come from damage, then we should be able to forgive. Because, trust me, we have reacted based on the damages done to us, however it plays out, whatever it may be. Maybe it's violence, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's alcoholism, maybe it's sex, maybe it's how you handle money, maybe it's food. It could be a plethora of things that have manifested and play a part. God says, I'm forgiving you. You got to forgive them. Because in reality, it's just like Christ said on the cross. They don't know what they're doing. Some of those people, absolutely oblivious that their dysfunction is their normal. That movie, Precious, it preaches that obviously we don't know the dynamics of Precious' mama, but we know she was crazy. So the question is, what drove her to that point? What was this childhood like? Because for you to get there, something about your life has to be broken. Something. I'm not a fan of the R. Kelly thing, but he talks about abuses he went through as a child. And the cycle continues. And there's some demons that need to be locked up. I'm just saying. they won't ever get freedom. They'll stay in their madness. They don't know how to walk in it. They don't even know how to acknowledge it. They just live in the madness. It is what it is. However, if God gives you freedom, if he gives you knowledge, if he gives you sight, if he peels back that you're in a place that you shouldn't be in, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Does not mean you sit down and have dinner. Don't mean we hanging out. Jesus wasn't sitting down hanging out with the Pharisees that was always there trying to clown. He said what he had to say and he rolled out. Why? Because they weren't receiving him anyway. It was a waste of his freaking time. Y'all think y'all well. Okay, go on and be well over there. I'm here for the sick, the people who know they need me. You want to be in your world of delusion? I'm going to leave you in that. Deuces. Let me keep rolling with these folks who are here because they want help. You got folks who don't want help. They want to stay in their madness. My biological mother, she won't apologize, won't admit to nothing, lie right to my face. Boom. I never said that. Okay. Okay. Never apologize. Well, my ninja, even that much you need to apologize for. No hatred. Because, and there's a lady on here, I don't know if some of y'all might have heard of her. She's like a little minister lady, BMAC Writes. She did something on her Facebook and I loved it. And I may not be able to quote it like she did it. But she says some of you are waiting for apologies that you will never get. Zero. You'll never get it. And the people know they wronged you. Some of them know. But they never going to give you that because they too much in their pride. It's too proud to step down and say, I screwed up. I was crazy as hell. I had issues. And some of them don't see that. They trumps. That brother know that he kind of instigated that whole madness with the white people hanging off the Capitol building, all the pink people. He know he did. But I'm not going to take accountability for that. I'm not going to own that. No. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. It was about me. I'm not going to take accountability for that. No, I'm not. I'm going to let them stand. There are people in our lives that are just like that. She said, and I love the way she put it, they will never give you the apology you deserve. So instead, you do still need to forgive them because forgiveness is for you. Especially when people won't walk in their stuff to where they need to be forgiven, need to ask for forgiveness, need to apologize to you, and they won't. And that's okay. I'm going to pray for you, but we're not sitting at the table. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm not sitting at the table. I'm not. And I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't have to be, I can be all by myself with Jesus. Get me a 4-legged Cocker Spaniel and I'm cool. I want a Cocker Spaniel again, y'all. And I'll be cool. I'm good. Meet Jesus and the Cocker Spaniel will be all right. I don't have a Cocker Spaniel yet, but I want one. $1,200. I'm not spending $1,200 for a Cocker Spaniel. I'm going to pray the Lord gives me a Cocker Spaniel puppy. Anyway. But no. No, no, and no. So, my statement to y'all on this Father's Day for any of y'all who've gone through this. You've gone through a situation where you did not have fathers. You didn't have mothers. You didn't have family the way that should be normal by what God's definition was. And in reality, even the families we see as normal aren't normal because everything was broken in the garden. They may just be more normal than the madness we grew up in. Some of you who grew up in families where you had parents who were abusive, drug addicts, drug dealers, absenteeism, and you're on this Father's Day with no one to celebrate, honor, I'm going to tell you, you do have a father. It ain't the father that's a biological father, but it's your spiritual father in heaven. And thank him for having his hand over your life and bringing you this far through your journey, good, bad, or indifferent, because you're still here. And in as right mind as you can have. And even if you got ailments and issues, you still breathing with your right mind. So there was a father looking out for you. It just wasn't the physical father that birthed you here on this planet. So bid him a happy Father's Day and thank him for his hand on your life. And celebrate that you can even have a mind to have that relationship and a spirit to know that he exists. And for the other absentee, non-existent drug addict daddies and mamas and all the other drama, then forgive them. Because again, just like Jesus, they don't know what they did. It's very unfortunate. But it's going to be okay. Because you got a father that's better than the father, I hate to say, that's in the earthly suit. If the earthly suit one was too broken to acknowledge you. And you're going to be all right. Because if you look over your life and you even can acknowledge that much, then God's hand has probably been in your life for a very long time, even before you realized it. I'm just saying. So that's my spiel tonight on this Father's Day. And I'm going to say you don't need to feel no kind of way. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to be stressed. You just need to get freedom. And the best kind of freedom you can get is to forgive. And forgiveness is for you. If the other person is so willing to be forgiven and you feel you can communicate that, wonderful. But if you know that that other person is still in their madness and their drama, all you can do is pray, God, forgive them and keep it pushing. And I forgive them, Lord, and keep it pushing. I put them in your hands and I pray, Lord, they get it right. Next. Don't get caught up in the madness and the drama. 0. It's not worth your time. And if anything, it will control all your days. Trust somebody who first was shown a lot of who and what I came from starting in my 30s. And it has taken me almost 50 years to get through a lot of anger and a lot of hurt and a lot of being able to understand. And I have a freedom. It's like I think I told some of y'all, like I was at the car wash, little Spanish kid, baby old enough to be my grandson. I think he called himself flirting. Child bye. But secondly, most folks don't walk up to me. Okay, and if you do come up to me, I'm not that, like how Grumpy would get these weak-minded women who would just, I'm not that one. As I think I said in a past video, anybody who followed me, fat is a problem. Confidence is not. I'm confidently not going to have madness in my life from ninjas of any kind. Cocker Spaniel can come in and you feed them, they come back, they go poop, they do their business, and they like, I'm back at the door because I'm going to eat. And mommy's there. And they shake their tail and they behind and they happy. And they love you and they ain't about your drama except for them chewing up stuff because they're a dog. That's their natural nature. If they chew and you get them something, they fine. But a two-legged dog of any sort cannot come in this house. It's a choice. And you better be confident in who you are. And that confidence, some of that non-confidence comes from the damage of things that happen to people. And you allow stupidity in your life. Not I, said the fly. At this age, no ma'am, no sir. In the young days, you might have dealt with some craziness because you really didn't know who you were, and you also were operating in probably a lot of the generational curses in your life. But if you come to some free, have God pull back them layers from your eyes, your mind, and your hearing, you can spot madness 5 miles away, a mile away, 800 miles away. Let me get my glasses, because this is me. I'm at the car wash. How you doing? I'm fine, how are you? You need some help? No, I'm fine. If you need any help at your house, my nigga, excuse me. See, I done went there. I don't know you, homie. Y'all look. I dropped my glasses. I said, I don't know you. What are you doing today? Washing the car. I don't know you. Little boy. You don't go back in the corner. And I can look at his eyes and tell, all the rocks ain't in the box. And you looking for a mama to take care of you. Boy, if you don't go sit down. Now my buddy Linda, I love her. Oh, girl, look at you. No, ma'am, no, sir. See, that behavior right there entertains foolishness. Confidence ain't never a problem. My little fat butt walked in there. Brother, I got this. I don't care. I better fall down on the ground. I'm not asking you to help me not even wipe a window or a tire with the foolishness that you're about to invite in. I can look in his eyes and see he's crazy. And I'm on to be your grandma. Ninja next. Deliverance and wholeness gets you to that. It gets you to where you can identify craziness. It does. And discern weirdness. And get you to a place, I don't care what your issues are, I'm going to have freedom. And I'm going to have peace. Point blank period. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm not fighting with anybody. I'm going to have peace. One of the reasons why I do Walmart delivery. I cannot drive up. Here's my number. Bring it to the car. Thank you very much. God bless you. And eventually, once I get finances even better, we're going to get back to doing delivery. I don't even want to go to Walmart to pick it up because people are crazy. Cray, cray. Anyway, y'all, that's all I had. What time? I don't even know what time it is right now. I can't even see the time. What time is it? Oh, we've been on here 80 minutes. So, y'all, I'm going to say good night. I'm going to see y'all probably next weekend. I'm trying to be Sundays. I got in a call because I was supposed to be on here between 4:30 and 5, but like I said, I've been all day. Was having a very good conversation with a young lady. And the conversation, I just felt it was necessary to come on here and to share. So, I hope this blesses you. And I pray it helps somebody. And again, not everybody going to be able to hear me because a lot of people walk around in spiritual blindness, spiritual deafness, and spiritual thinking. They can't see. Unless God's Holy Spirit shows you, folks can't see. They just stay in their madness. And that's okay because that's your journey. But for those of y'all can hear and God has peeled back them layers or you've asked him to, it's not easy. But you will have to forgive. You cannot make it in without forgiving somebody else. You can't. You can't. And some of the people that have wronged us, it's been pretty disgusting. And some of the behaviors of those around us who knew, that's been disgusting too. But if you got a relationship with God, keep that relationship and get a Jesus mindset. Forgive them for they do not know what they do. Because if you are God's select, chosen child, one, you want to ask for forgiveness because him being a good father, if he would defend his children at the level he will, and you, our earthly parent, was a good parent and would defend your children as a good parent, what all do you think God will do to that person if you don't forgive them? I'd burn the world down behind my child if I had one. It's kind of like there's a situation going on in the world right now, and folks have a very bad view of the situation. Will somebody come in my house and do what had been done in their house? I would tear down the world. So if we don't forgive, he's the God of the universe. What do you think he will do if we don't forgive people? And that's why Jesus says, you need to forgive. Don't get me wrong, God's still going to handle his business. He just might be more merciful if they don't get their crap right than he would if you didn't ask him and tell him you forgive them and ask him to forgive them as well. Because woe be unto anybody if we let God unleash for his children. I'm just saying. Anyway, y'all, have a good night. Be blessed. 2 and 2. I'll be on here next weekend. I'll try to post it a little early. Y'all just going to have to be looking between 4 and probably 6-ish Arizona time that I'll post it on there. I'm going to try to come up maybe with a standard schedule, but between school and sometimes run around on Saturdays and Sundays. This is what happens. Got a little bit of homework to do. Got to do some refrigerator cleaning here. My goal is organizing the kitchen before I go to bed tonight. Because I do work tomorrow, but we're back work from home. We were in the office last week, and I did a whole office, and they actually added some handicap spots. Oh, thank you, Jesus. So I still got to call them about the bathroom thing. but they added handicap spots. And it's getting dark. I think I'm going to go kind of try to grill me a steak. And I'm going to try to I haven't laid the garden bed down yet. I put the cardboard down. I need to lay the garden bed. I need to put dirt in there. And then I'm going to have to go get some in-the-house soil for the new plant. And y'all remind me next weekend to show y'all the plant. So hopefully remind me next weekend to show me the plant. Y'all, 2 and 2, be blessed. Peace.